Hi, everybody. Good Friday to you. Let's say that again. Good Friday to you, and thank you for being here this evening, this 8th day of December, where we're looking at the potential for a little snowfall. Back on this date in 1995, we were looking at several inches of snowfall, 3 to 5 inches of snowfall after heavy snow had fell for several hours across much of eastern Kentucky. Right now, we're talking about a low pressure system that is going to give anywhere from a dusting to an inch of snow at the most tomorrow, and that inch is going to be more towards the Virginia border, and we're in for, I think, what's going to be closer to a dusting. But the first snowfall, the first official snowfall of the year, looks like it could and certainly be upon us, and it still could go a little bit to the lighter side of that even. We'll talk more about it in just a few moments. We'll also talk about tonight indictments returned against several individuals from a Magauffa County grand jury, a Magauffa County man sentencing and judgment. We have some more details on that, some highlights from last night's Hornet matchup as I am out the door. The show taped a little earlier because Andrew's JV game started at 5. That was a prelude to, or going to be a prelude to a doubleheader, as the Lady Hornets will play the second game and the Hornets take on the third game. That's going to be a big night for local basketball. My apologies, still this nagging cough that I cannot get rid of. So with that said, we'll get to all the headlines, and I'll get out and get to the high school. We'll go ahead and begin just briefly. We'll know more a week from tonight, but the Lane Report is quoting statements from a company that says they're bringing jobs to Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, and investing some $370 million into a battery manufacturing facility in Pikeville that will also bring jobs to Lexington as well. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of jobs, 875 in total, and the majority or bulk of those being here in eastern Kentucky. Interblue is the name of the company. It's an American-owned company based on the West Coast, and from what I understand, they have received enough incentives and plan on making an official announcement next Friday. They primarily manufacture energy storage devices, batteries for military and commercial grade vehicle applications. That's what we know at this time. We'll know more once again Friday, but they hope to actually have their doors open in Pikeville in 3 years or less. A major announcement. More details pending. We're not going to know much more than that, I don't believe, until next Friday. Here's what I know right now about indictments returned by a Magauffa County grand jury this week. Several individuals indicted: drug theft, wanton endangerment, persistent felony offender, I believe, and a host of other charges are all included therein. Per a case handled by Deputy Neil Adams of the Magauffa County Sheriff's Department, Jared Salyer of Royalton Road here in Magauffa County was indicted on account of possession of methamphetamine in the first degree and possession of drug paraphernalia for being in possession of meth and items used to smoke or inhale or ingest the methamphetamine sometime around the 27th day of July of this year. Robert Miller of Southeast Licking River Road was indicted by the grand jury on 2 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree and a count of criminal mischief in the second degree. The wanton endangerment charges relate to putting in serious physical injury or the danger thereof a Julie Brown and a Betsy Reisner, the means by which were not listed in the indictment. However, he's also indicted on criminal mischief in the second for damaging property owned by Reisner at an estimated loss or value of some $900. Randall Roy Howard of HC 61 in Sagersville was indicted on arson in the third degree and cruelty to animals in the second degree. This goes back to a case that I covered here in the program back in September, where on the 15th day of September, he set fire to a home, a single-wide mobile home belonging to, I believe it is his daughter, and burning it basically to the ground, while inside were several dogs, pets, that were locked up in cages. And he was arrested at the scene after, I believe, a tussle with authorities. What is also curious at this time, and we'll have a follow-up on next week, it appears as though Howard's indictment, even though there are some felony charges here, and there are several other indictments which are also involving felony charges, which did not involve a warrant for arrest, but rather a summons. This just kind of being noticed as we've gone through those, and I'll have more on that and be curious to look into that a little closer next week. Christopher C. Howard of Lick Creek Road of Sagersville was indicted on flagrant non-support charges, a single charge for being behind in child support, some $21,625. Joey Nathan Dickerson, this photograph dated several years ago, I do believe, the last on file at the Big Sandy Regional Jail, was indicted on a count of failure to comply with sex offender registration in the first offense from Burning Fork, in McGoffin County. The McGoffin County Sheriff's Department says that on or around the 29th day of May, he failed to comply with the sex offender registration list when he failed to provide his current address to the Kentucky State Police Sex Offender Registry. Billy Joe Tucker of Grand Rapids, Michigan, indicted on account of receiving stolen property over $10,000, failure to comply with the sex offender registration list, and sex offender using a social network. This relates to a case story that I also covered here quite in depth on the program back in September on the 8th of this year. He was found to be in possession of a stolen U-Haul that came out of Arizona. And upon investigation by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department, he was also found to have failed to comply with his sex offender registry and listed his current address. He was also found to have several accounts using different types of social media outlets against the terms or agreements, if you will, upon being registered as a sex offender. A Paintsville man, Jonathan D. Dale, was indicted on possession of methamphetamine, public intoxication of drugs, wanton endangerment in the second of a police officer, and possession of drug paraphernalia for an arrest that happened sometime around the 24th day of September when he was found to be in possession of methamphetamine by Deputy Corey Cook of the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Under the influence of methamphetamine, he also caused or could have caused serious physical injury to Deputy Cook and was therefore indicted on the wanton endangerment charges as well. Chase Patrick of Bee Tree Road, indicted also in a case that we covered here in a story, a stolen side-by-side that he was found in possession of that belonged to Abarta Gas and Oil, or Oil and Gas, on October the 10th of this year, and therefore indicted on a single count of receiving stolen property under $10,000. A Flatwoods man, Billy Rowe, was indicted on charges of trafficking in the first degree, trafficking a controlled substance in the second degree, and trafficking a controlled substance as well in the third degree. And I believe this is when the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department answered a complaint, if I'm not mistaken, in the College Heights area, and found him in possession of a variety of drugs and a large quantity thereof as well, under 10 dosage units of oxycodone, but some 20 doses or around about of another drug, as well as some 120 units or doses of diazepam at the time of his arrest. Jeffrey Blackburn of Prestonsburg, indicted on trafficking in a controlled substance in the first degree, complicity, and possession of drug paraphernalia complicity as well. Around the 25th day of July of this year, he was found to have been trafficking in methamphetamine along with a Jesse Pete Kraft, and was indicted for doing so by Trooper Dustin Thompson of the Kentucky State Police out of Post 9. While Jesse Pete Kraft, also from Prestonsburg himself, was indicted on a 9-count indictments as well for being complicit in trafficking in meth, complicity for trafficking or being in possession of drug paraphernalia, as well as possession of a controlled substance, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs, third offense, operating a motor vehicle on a revoked or suspended license, not keeping required insurance, no registration receipt, and other traffic charges as well. It relates all to the same case and the same arrest that took place on July the 25th of he and Blackburn here in McGoffin County by the state police. This next indictment, it relates to a pretty recent story here on the program, back on November the 13th here in McGoffin County, and on a report that I ran, I believe, the following day or following show. Jason Gerald of Sagersville was indicted on two counts of wanton endangerment of a police officer, menacing, resisting arrest, and fleeing and evading police on foot in the second degree. That's when authorities responded to a residence here in McGoffin County, to which he came to the door and pointed a loaded shotgun in the face of Trooper Dustin Thompson, as well as Deputy Brian Tipton, I think, who was also on scene or nearby, and has since been charged with those charges: wanton endangerment, menacing, resisting arrest, and fleeing or evading on foot. The authorities spent several moments trying to take him into custody without further incident and without any further risk of life. In all, a 5-count indictment against Gerald. Matthew Sparks indicted on a 15-count indictment. This relates to a case presented before the grand jury by Magafa County Sheriff's Deputy Jonathan Holbrook. He was trying to execute an arrest warrant on Sparks and found him, I believe, in the Coffee Branch area. And there was an altercation that I can recall reporting on here on the show that lasted nearly 10 minutes before the deputy could finally get to his radio and summon for help, and then another 15 minutes thereafter as well before authorities arrived in that portion of Magoffin County. Sparks was said to have had a .22 Derringer in his back pocket that he refused to give to the officer and refused to show his hands for a significant amount of time. I think if I recall right, my report said that Sparks had to be tased 3 times and sprayed with pepper spray at least 2 times before authorities could get him into custody. He was indicted on account of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of methamphetamine, assault in the second degree of a police officer, wanton endangerment of a police officer, criminal mischief in the first, menacing, resisting, disorderly conduct, possession of marijuana, possession of paraphernalia, fleeing or evading police on foot, being under the influence of drugs, and being a persistent felony offender. There was also one other indictment returned in the name of a Rebecca Auxer of Haney Branch Road in West Liberty for flagrant non-support. There's no photograph available or record of her being incarcerated in the Big Sandy Jail, but she's said to be in arrears to the amount of $16,778 in child support. I'll be right back.
Are you looking to visit or come home to Sagersville to relax, reconnect, or maybe ride the Dawkins Trail? Then you have to stay in our luxurious lofts over downtown that comfortably and conveniently accommodate parties of 1 to 10 with king beds, beautiful decor and furnishings, and walls adorned with the city's history. There's absolutely nowhere else like the Mortimer Lofts. Book directly through VRBO. Find them on Facebook at the Mortimer Lofts of Sagersville or call 606-349-3299.
It was just this morning that the official judgment was filed to support the earlier information that we already had. And while we were under the impression that Greg Howard of Magoffin County received a rather lighter sentence in respect to what he was facing, it was only confirmed with court records today, and that's what I was waiting on. It turns out that he will serve time for not one but 2 cases in which he was involved. The first going back to 2013. He will serve time based on revocation of his parole, that time to be concurrent with 3 years to which he was sentenced to for a 2017 case. Arrested in 2013 and then pleading guilty to a single count of distribution of pills and getting credit for time served and being sentenced to probation. A few years later, and just this past March, he was, that being Greg Howard of Howard's Grocery, the subject of a raid again, this time at this place of business, Howard's Grocery on Lick Creek, where he was taken into federal custody and kept at that time until his trial and since, and has now been sentenced again. He was sentenced to 1 year for the revocation of his parole, for which he was still on for the 2013 case, and was sentenced to 3 years in prison, facing up to 30 years, sentenced to 36 months in this most recent case, which he pled guilty to a single count, I believe it was, count 5 of his 2017 indictment for, once again, distribution of prescription pills. The 1 year and the 3 years are to run concurrent with each other, meaning that he will serve a maximum of 3 years before being released. And records also say that in addition to those 3 years or 36 months that he will serve in regards to pleading guilty to that possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance or sell or distribute hydrocodone, he will also have to complete 120 hours of community service. From there, we'll go on to tonight's Magoffin Farm Bureau community calendar announcements. And with the holidays upon us, a lot of holiday-related events happening, and I've got a lot more that we'll pick up next week as well. But for those in the short term, a reminder that you can help support a local toy drive that's been organized now for the 4th year in a row by the Sagersville Funeral Home. Their annual toy drive is now underway, and if you would like to help support them, drop off any new unwrapped toy. If you're out doing a little holiday shopping, pick up a little something extra, drop it off. All toys in support for this wonderful event going right here at home to the kids of Magoffin County for the Sagersville Funeral Home's Toy Drive for the 4th annual Sagersville Funeral Home Toy Drive, and it's grown every year with support from folks such as yourself. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, the Christmas gift giveaway at the Mount Sinai Church of God. That's just across from the Sagersville Speedway. They will be there beginning at 10. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. All the gifts, they will give them out until they're gone. And they are all given and graciously donated by the East Kentucky Mission and the Sinking Fork Baptist Church. That's tomorrow morning starting at 10 in downtown Sagersville. The South Magoffin Volunteer Fire Department starts their Christmas run tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. They'll leave the fire department. They'll be going to Salt Lick, Long Creek, Buck Creek, Whitley, Trace, 542 and 1502, Howard's Branch to Sulphur Springs, Bull and Brushy, the county line at 6 o'clock. There at Spruce Pine, Main Licking at 6:15. And kids, if you live in their service area and miss any of those designated stops at 7 o'clock, they'll be returning back to the fire department, and that's where you'll find Santa and the firemen, and I'm sure some gifts and treats there as well. I'm not sure. I know they'll be there at the fire department and have something in case you missed them. Distribution day for the Water into Wine Food Pantry for our senior citizens is set for Tuesday of next week, 8:30 till noon. The regular day next Wednesday, 8:30 till 3. I'll remind you Monday, but remember this Christmas celebration feast. This is just for everyone in our community to come and enjoy a great holiday meal. Tuesday of next week at the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center. I'll remind you about it one more big time on Monday. The Small Business Bazaar that's being sponsored by the South Magoffin Fire Department is next Saturday here in downtown Saggers with the Renaissance Center. All sorts of vendors and Christmas gifts and ornaments and concessions and more. Great place to do a little extra Christmas shopping, or do it all maybe, because you'll be able to find something there for everyone at the Small Business Bazaar down at the Saggers Renaissance Program. And you can find your announcements, birthdays, and anniversaries too right here on my show. All you got to do is tell me so I can tell everyone else. Doesn't cost anything. You just got to tell me so I can tell everyone else. And turning to obituary listings, a service provided by our friends at the Magoffin County Funeral Home, a reminder of a memorial service to be held in honor of Betty Arnett Davis this Sunday beginning at 3 o'clock at the Sagersville Funeral Home. Family will welcome friends for visitation beginning at 1, and a memorial service will be held the same afternoon, Sunday, at 3, and a dinner in her honor will also follow at the Renaissance Center in downtown Sagersville. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. Going to be a big 24 hours or so for Magoffin County Hornets fans. Right around this time last night, the boys were hosting Betsy Lane. Tonight, it's a doubleheader. The Lady Hornets in Game 1 at 6, the boys in Game 2 at 7:30, and those both follow actually the boys' JV game, which will start earlier than that at 5, which I referred to at the top of the program, which I'm trying my best to get out of here and make it to. Nevertheless, the boys from Betsy Lane traveled to Magoffin County last night, and the boys from Magoffin County showed up and started off on a hot streak. From the tip last night, a cohesive team working in concert. Logan Lovely with the first touch, then comes up with the steal to Brady Whitaker, keeps it in play to Michael Conley, to Dylan Arnett, back to where it all started with Logan Lovely from well outside to get Magoffin County rolling. But Betsy Lane had an immediate answer with a three of their own. Immediately followed by another big three, this time by Conley down in the corner. And here's Conley and Nolan Arnett coming up with the steal, and then Arnett sees Lovely all alone, and Magoffin County is out to an early lead. But Betsy Lane later cut that lead down to 1 at the end of the first quarter, before Magoffin County pushed it back out to a 7-point lead in the second quarter, then to 9, but finishing up the first half only up 3, 32-29. And in the second half, it all fell apart for the Hornets. 51-73 in a complete role reversal in the second half. Earns Magoffin County their third loss on the season with still one win
looking for 2 tonight at home. Once again, hosting Sheldon Clark in a doubleheader.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened in the second half. I left at the end of the first thinking McGough County was just going to keep rolling right on. They were literally on fire, as you saw, and I saw myself just looking to get to sleep a little early for a change. It's been a long past couple of weeks. We've got a lot of projects going on. But nevertheless, 51-73, your final score. I suspect they had a good talking from Coach Castle thereafter and have a little extra motivation for tonight. We'll see how it pans out for our boys. Still an early season. Still a lot of exciting basketball ahead. Now, I can't tell you how sure I am of the forecast. Literally, I'm just talking about specifically how much snow we're going to see. Everyone kind of focused on that. The first one, even if it's not a big one, it's always a big deal, right? Well, right now we're talking about what might just be a skiff. That's real technical. That's a legitimate technical term. A skiff of snow to maybe an inch. And I suspect the upper elevations down around the border in Virginia, that's where we'll see that inch of snowfall. We could get into a half an inch of snowfall here. It is possible. But right now we're going to go with cloudy skies tonight, a low of 24, calm winds. And for your Saturday, scattered snow showers after 3 o'clock tomorrow. Clouds will be on the increase as well, and daytime highs right around 36 degrees. It's going to be blustery tomorrow. Out of the southwest, winds rolling 8 to 18 miles per hour at times, and those winds will continue tomorrow night up to 10 mile per hour and 16 mile per hour gusts as well, with scattered snow showers mainly up before midnight. So 3 to midnight looks to be our window tomorrow for the chance for some snowfall. Mostly sunny on your Sunday. Precipitation will be here tomorrow, gone Sunday. 34 degrees for your high, 22 for your low on Sunday. Sunny. We'll see clouds increase Sunday night to the tune of partly cloudy skies. Just partly cloudy skies Sunday night. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Monday, we'll see more sunshine with temperatures right around 49. That's going to be an improvement. So, basically, mostly clear, sunny skies Sunday and Monday. Temperatures take a nice little jump on Monday to 49 degrees. Monday nights when the clouds will be on the increase, and that's out ahead. Another little chance of snowfall on Tuesday of next week. A chance of some flurries and a slight chance of some snow showers thereafter. Right now to the tune of about a 20% shot, so not a big weather maker. Saturday is going to be our best bet for the forecast period to see if any of the white stuff. 35 on your Tuesday, 33 on your Wednesday. I think Thursday of next week we might see the 40s return. Going to wrap it up for this week, this Friday, this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. We are already working on headlines for next week, and we hope certainly that after a wonderful holiday or pre-holiday weekend, you'll join us then for our next edition of Your News Today. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.